Well, guess what, guys? Venus is moving into Leo and she's going to make one of her luckiest transits of the year. And that is that she's going to trine Jupiter on the middle of the month, 17th, 18th, and 19th of August. Then near the end of the month, wow, some gnarly tension with Saturn around the 27th. We're going to cover all of that luck and opportunity growth and yay you, as well as some tension at the end of the month for all signs. Hey, if you're new to my channel, I'm Lori Lothian, the Lunatic Astrologer, and we're talking about Venus moving through the sign of Leo from August the 11th to the 4th of September. She does this once a year, usually roughly around the same time of year. And this time she's doing some things she doesn't normally do. We have Jupiter in Aries, which we don't normally have, where she's going to trine energy to him. And we only had that happen 12 years ago. So it's very special. It's very lucky. So stay tuned for your sign. Now, I am visiting a friend's place and it is hot as hell and really dark in here because there's a thunderstorm coming. So I apologize for my lighting, and this top doesn't want to cooperate. So we'll just live with whatever it's doing. It's supposed to be something like this, and I'm not going to change it because I'm just too hot to do it. So number one, listen for your rising sign, please. You don't know what your rising sign is because it's the most accurate. You can check into my free video tutorial in the description link below. You just scroll through my description box. That's where you can also find out how to have a reading for it with me. Also check into my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter. If you sign up, you get all 2022 all sign videos for free. That's 12 videos not available to the public, times 60 minutes for Sun, Moon, and Rising signs 2022. Share with your friends and family. All right, so, and you get a weekly forecast newsletter from me and a discount code off for 30% off any reading with me. So come on and join my newsletter out every weekend with a forecast I write for you of the week ahead. Okay, so let's get started. And it looks blurry, but I think it's just the low lighting, the camera, but I'll just deal with it. Number one, let me show you the sky so you can see what the heck I'm talking about before we hit the all signs. And come on, guys, open up. And there you go. So there's Venus entering Leo, and I just kept the planets in that she's going to connect with mostly. So that's why it's a screen that has less planets than the sky has. And you can see that she will be there on the 11th of August. And when she comes into Leo until the 23rd, the sun is with her there. The sun there is her boss, right? She's really kind of in the home of the sun, and the sun is at home in his home. But when he leaves on the 23rd, she has free reign. But keep this in mind because August 17th, 18th, and 19th, when she trines Jupiter, who is retrograding here in the sign of Aries, this is going to be how she can bring you some luck, but ultimately under the command of the sun. And we'll cover how that looks in your sky based on your rising sign and your sun and moon sign as well. I'll just show you how it looks as she moves through the sky, because some of you love this stuff. So you can see she's moving along, doing her thing. I'm not going to cover every single aspect she makes, of course, unless I do separate videos for that. And you can see, I apologize how fast I went, over here on the 18th, that she's in a very tight trine to Jupiter at 7 degrees and 59 minutes. And there she sits at 8 degrees of Leo. Nothing short of luck, opportunity, expansion, goodness, growth coming through your sky on those dates. And it will be in a different part of your chart based on your ascendant, because Venus Leo house is one of 12 places in your sky. I am a tropical Western astrologer using whole sign houses. I am not a Vedic astrologer, FYI. Later in the month, on August the 27th, she will come into an opposition to Saturn. These are the two ones I really feel like I want to highlight, but I might touch base a little bit for some of you, especially you Tauruses, with this moment here where she hits the nodal axis and reactivates the big boom that happened in August at the beginning of the month. Please look at my video on that if you want to know more about how a rare once every 2300 year event has triggered some new developments in your sky that can potentially lead to an incredible new life direction of some sort based on your rising sign. And then lastly, after the big boom recapitulation on August the 25th or so, you know, she's kind of like retriggering the nodal axis here on the 25th, 26th, and 27th. Then she opposes Saturn. That is still a part of that big boom. So we can just say the 25th to the 27th, things that were occurring in early August, late July are coming back again. I'm going to go open the window because I am so hot, and then we'll be back and covering your sign. Oh man, guys, it's totally hot in here. I don't know if this is going to work together. I might take us outside. Yeah, I just might take us outside because even though it's raining, at least it's cooler out here than it is in this super muggy house. Let's see how I can do. Oh, that's better. Oh my God, guys. Like when I say it's hot, I know I had a client from Paris this morning. I guess I can't complain because I know they're having hotter weather in Paris than I'm having here in Canada, in Ontario. Holy man. So I'm gonna have to try to prop you guys up on something, right? Let me do that. Give me a minute. I'm making a stand. All right, let's get rolling. I just can't take the heat in the house. F me, all right. Oh, let's get rolling. Like when I say I'm hot, I mean like I am dying here. All right, it's raining, but we're under a little overpass, so we're not ruining the laptop. Well, let's get talking about it. I'm not going to change the I'm just going to keep this picture up for us, I guess. Oh my goodness. So let's start going through the signs. I'll leave this picture up for now like this. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. You guys are having this energy of the big boom happening. Uh-oh, shite. I'm getting water splash on my laptop. We know that that's not a good thing, for fuck's sake. Excuse my language. We're moving back inside. I'm going to pause the recording. Oh, give me a minute. Okay, I'm back in the hothouse. Let's get going. All signs back to the screen share. All right, Aries, we're going to do you first. Sorry, guys, I'm just so hot. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. The energy of the big boom is going to, well, let's start off with the happy news, right? Let's start off with the 17th, 18th, and 19th. Well, Venus will be sitting in Leo, trining, flowing, harmoniously loving up Jupiter. And that is happening with Jupiter in the house of your body, your health, your identity, your personhood, your sense of self. Now, you are pretty lucky when Jupiter's there, as well as gaining a bit of weight and getting a little more girthy. It's a lucky transit. He'll be there until next May. He just dips out a bit between October 28th and December 20th. So this is a part of a larger story, a rare once every 12-year transit of Jupiter through the house of your identity, especially for you rising sign Aries, but it counts for your sun and moon as well. If your rising sign, sun or moon is in the first, let's just say the first 10 degrees of Aries, this is a particularly OMG moment for you. Venus is in the place where she has her joy. In your 5th house is her joy house. She loves it here. This is a house of money, luck, like lottery wins and speculative wins. So get your lottery ticket if you can afford it. Don't play beyond your means. Speculative and lucky and strikes with money can happen, but you can be lucky in love and money with Venus moving through that 5th house. And you can be lucky with pregnancy as well. Girthy expansion for you, Aries rising, is what happens with Jupiter in your 1st house. And some of you will make babies out of this transit. Trust me, love and romance later on, babies and fertility. So that's what I told you about. That was the 17th, 18th, and 19th of the month. Then later on, we're going to have, anything else I want to say about that? When this happens, the sun is still playing a role, right? The sun is sitting with Venus in Leo. So it's a very turbocharged, supercharged energy. There's just no two ways about it. Yeah, super luck for you guys in this part of the sky. You can make your own luck here, and you can also have luck just befall you. And if you're an entrepreneur at all, the 5th house is entrepreneurial endeavors, and that gets a really big boost as well. Can you hear the rain? Let's keep going and talk about, it's a very short video, guys. It's just the gist of the two things that are happening. The big boom is where I'm going to go next. As you can see, August 27th is when the opposition to Saturn happens, but it's also preceded in the days that follow, the 25th, 6th, 7th, as Venus begins to square the nodal axis. So go back to what places in your life you're experiencing a tension, let's say between your social groups, your large friendship circles, your large visions and goals for your long-term life directions, 11th house things, or even just the experience of great financial gain from your career ambition. Where has it felt like a struggle? Venus here, she could mean that you have tension between a child, the needs of a child, the needs of a lover, and your ambitious goals for your great gains from your career. And there's something that's got to give, something's got to break through here. Uranus is saying, we're going to have a money breakthrough, big boom for you. And this is a new 15-year massive change in the way money comes to you. So that's exciting. And at this particular juncture around the end of the month, expect some exciting, if not challenging, developments around money, love and children, the means of money coming to you, and some sense of a duty and obligation you might have to a larger group of people that you belong to, or your larger social groups and networks of friends. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll talk about Taurus. Taurus, sun, moon, rising sign. The happy, lucky, rare hasn't happened in 12 years. Transit between Jupiter in a trine to Venus is occurring on the 17th, 18th, and 19th or so of August for you guys with Jupiter in the 12th. Now, it's good for gurus, guides, mentors, and teachers to come to you, foreign lands, trips, and travel, learning new things with Jupiter here, as well as defeating old patterns, habits, addictions, and self-undoing, sabotage. Jupiter will help you find the ways to learn to undo those things. And he's here basically until next May, guys, minus a little hiatus, October, November, December. So this is an ongoing transit. Now, Venus lends some love, and she does it from the 4th house. Now, don't forget, she hasn't trined Jupiter in Aries for over 12 years. So this is going to feel very good, very new energy of what's possible. And it's happening from your 4th house of home, your private and domestic life, the house of the mother, the house of your family of origin, your childhood, your ancestral line. So you may really be undoing some family patterns, some ancestral patterns of self-undoing during that trine, but in the most flowing, positive way. Jupiter here can bring money from banks and bank loans because he trines the 8. Venus is about land, home, and real estate. If you're a Taurus rising in particular, and you've been trying to get your hands on some money regarding property or real estate, this can, or wanting to move to a new property, especially if it involves foreign lands, this is a very positive time between those dates of 17th, 18th, and 19th. And finally, love in the home. Venus here can bring a woman to visit or spending time with a female in the home and experiencing a really powerful sense of karmic connection. And divine union and divine harmony. Now, later on, you're going to see the energy get more tense, as you can see in the sky in this current picture, with the opposition to Saturn in your house of career and reputation, and at the same time, some breaking through in the house of you. If you go back to like July 20th to August 6th, when the whole big boom of Uranus North Node was happening with Mars there at the time. Mars has moved on, by the way, to Gemini. Basically at the end of the month, but you're feeling this essence of a huge expansion and redirection and renewal and change and dramatic assessment of who you are, reabsorbing that earlier learning. It was even focused on the moon, the big full moon in Aquarius, supermoon on the 11th of August. And now Venus is kind of finishing up, cleaning up, mopping up after everybody else. Now, with Venus here, she's also going to be basically squaring your ascendant. And so therefore, if your rising sign is anywhere between 20 to 29 degrees, let's say like 18 to 25 degrees of Taurus, especially rising sign, but sun and moon, this square from Venus can definitely look like some female is also giving you a hard time in the 4th house at this time at the end of the month. Difficulty from a female in the home environment, pressure and difficulty and tension that's really hitting your physical body in some way. The 10th house repression from Saturn can really look like somebody in authority is letting you down. Somebody who is a boss or a higher up is, disappointing you in some way. You may also find that your reputation is having a challenge at this time, or that you are getting ready to finish up with some career path that's no longer working for you. And as this is happening, there is a sense of going back into that big boom, that there's a re-energization of what was going on in that time. And with the sun co-present with Venus earlier in the month, giving her a hand and lighting her up, this is no longer true. By the time we get to the end of the month, the 23rd of the month onward, the sun is no longer there and Venus is on her own. So she's kind of a singleton. She's stronger when the sun is there. So let's see if this is something that you can figure out in your sky. I would say it's such an important piece for you Tauruses, because Venus is the ruler of your health, wealth, health and identity and body. And when she's in a gnarly square to that, you might find that, and Saturn's involved, that you're really having to deal with an acute health challenge that you're going to have to recover from, because she is the lord of your house of sickness. So not to worry you, but you could have a transiting or temporary end of month health challenge you'll be dealing with as well. Gemini, sun, moon, rising sign. So hey, guys, here we have Venus in the early part of the month doing her lovely rare every 12th year kind of vibe, trining Jupiter, 17th, 18th, and 19th of the month. Well, Jupiter is retrograding, yes, but he is in your 11th house of good spirit and in a place of his joy. So he's very strong here. And a retrograde Jupiter just means a delay in the goodies that you're going to get. So yeah, the third week of November, some of those really start to pop. But you've got your Santa Claus God in the house of fairy godmothers. So it's a really positive transit for most of you Gemini rising, sun and moon, especially in the first 10 degrees of Gemini, or your sun or moon is in the first 10 degrees. The rest of you Geminis will get the goodies later on, December 20th to May, where then Jupiter gets through the entire first house. Now that said, Venus is once every 12-year movement through, trying to this Jupiter, through your third house. It's definitely maybe involving siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, short trips and travel, and education, learning something about, that Venus would value. With the sun co-present with her earlier in the month, this is a very vitalizing, purposeful potential for learning something that will really guide you into greater purpose and career direction, happening around the 17th, 18th, and 19th of the month. The courses of skills-based learning and study that you take or sign up for or something like that. I really would say to you guys too, that with Venus as the ruler of your fifth house of joy, play, fun, and pleasure, and sextiling that house from the third, and then, loving up that Jupiter, romance could happen, fun can happen through a trip. Some of you singleton Geminis could meet a romantic partner through friends, through great social events that you're going to, belonging, groups of belonging, or trips and travel. And you could be introduced to one of the loves of your life. And if you're with somebody already, it just increases the joy, fun, play, and pleasure that you experience as well. I do like the fact that with this particular transit, you also have the potential to write something or communicate something or market or merchandise something, or even go on Tinder. That's very successful, popular with the people, and brings great gains from your career. Or lastly, do Tinder or Hinge or all of those apps. Venus here in the land of dating apps, third house online platforms, could bring you into contact with a very powerful love story if you're single and looking for love. Now, the second thing I want to say, thank God I'm not outside, it's like a monsoon, is a big boom that happened, like, let's go July 20th to August 6th, this energy that was happening of Mars, Uranus in the North Node, combining in a rare 2300 kaboom. Well, that happened for you in your 12th house, a very subtle energy, but it can lead you to change, go to trips to foreign lands, move to another country eventually over the next 15 years, completely eliminate addictions and bad habits and self-undoing in an instant, and also potentially want to learn something new, some academic endeavor or course of study that's really going to be important to you over the next 15 years. Now, Venus is kind of activating that story again and offering you some opportunity from a learning house. Well, she's opposite Saturn in a learning house. That's houses 3 and 9. So academia is the 9th house and skills-based learning is the 3rd. For some of you Geminis, there's some tension here. A professor is really gnarly and he's not giving you the grades you think you need, or the admin at the school wants you to do something you don't want to do, or you want to take a trip to a foreign land and there's some restrictions around vaccine mandates, passports, or curtailing of travel. Something really gnarly happening in the end of the month, the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th kind of thing, where you feel frustration and stuck around pleasure, joy, fun, and play regarding travel, trips, or some real big tension maybe with a sibling breaking through at the end of the month. But it also serves you at the end of the day because it's a part of you moving forward toward that opening in that 12th house. And, for a lot of you, if you're a spiritual Gemini and you want to get enlightened, that big boom in your 12th house can bring some significant enlightenment energy into your world, even to the point where you get a spiritual religious path, Saturn moving through the 9th, that you want to follow. Like you suddenly decide you're going to become a Buddhist, a Sufi, some kind of tradition, a Kabbalist, and you're going to wake up your spiritual potential already. But that's something being stimulated, but in a critically gritty way. And lastly, women in general in your local neighborhood could be pressuring you, and you could have some tension with some of them regarding some things that were in your life at the end of August, July into early August. Cancer, sun, moon, rising sign. So the big boom. So we have the big boom. The lucky trine of Jupiter trine Venus has not happened. Remember, until 12 years ago. Here we are again. That's Jupiter traveling retrograde now through the sign of Aries in your career house. Now, it's great for Cancer rising particularly, but Sun and Moon, especially in the first 10 degrees, where Jupiter has been here for a few months now, since May, and will be here all the way through to October 28th. Then he tiptoes out and he's back again December 20th to next May. This is a rare 12-year cycle of succeeding in your career path, expanding in your career path, blowing up in your career path, becoming very powerful in the career of choice. And in that regard, Venus in the money house is adding money, fuel to the fire. She's like, oh yeah, I'm in your second house of earnings. What can I do, Jupiter? Expect some amazing financial gains around your career path, a raise, a promotion, a new job offer, getting the job you want, you applied for. If you're an entrepreneur, then you're just taken off in your business. Things are really moving forward. And people in power, Jupiter leaders, bosses can look upon you very favorably here. Because Jupiter is going retrograde, some of the greater yay goodness may not come until the third week of November, but nonetheless, it is here already in the sky. So whatever's going on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of the month of August could also pertain to some later rewards financially in regards to career in the third week of November. Okay, so yeah, just because Jupiter starts to go forward and it can offer the goodies that he's been working on. I would say that your big boom energy that happened in the end of July, beginning of August, in your 11th house of good spirit is about your big visions of your life and what you want to do with it, your long range plans and goals. But it's also a house that has to do with great financial gain from one's career path and great rewards for one's career, as well as pennies from heaven. So some of you could really be coming into a time of great financial abundance over the next 15 years, thanks to the big boom. And Venus is giving us a foretaste of that. However, there is some tension here in the earnings house, the big boom energy of your 11th house to great gains and allies as well, and the energy of Saturn in the house of stocks, investments, money with your spouse, business, shared money, resources with a business partner, inheritances. So basically, the 5 here is, how are you going to reconcile some kind of tension and maybe duty and responsibility regarding shared resources with someone else, like a spouse, and your earnings? I mean, a simple example at the end of the month would be your spouse says, well, you're making all this money, why don't you share it with me? Or why we need a new fridge, well, you should pay for it, things like that. And it's a temporary tension, but it's to remind you of something, because the big boom is opening you up to a period over 15 years of really great financial gain and rewards and reputation increasing in some kind of chosen career path. And this tension, because you're going to make more money, a lot of money over the years, this tension with the shared resources house. If you're having a marriage falling apart, alimony, spousal support, palimony stuff, this could be very much the end of the month tension we're seeing, and bickering over what kind of division of assets you're going to have, etc. A financial advisor could be telling you how to streamline your bank account, your savings, your earnings and stuff, and the way you use that money after you've made it, saving it, for instance. And you might feel the tension between Venus loves to spend in the second house, like on luxury items, and you want to buy yourself, a luxury piece of furniture, and some authority figure in the back end goes, it's not a wise choice fiscally right now. But you're having this tension here, so be aware of that at the end of the month. And that end of the month, by the way, if I didn't say it is like literally the end of the month, the 25th, 26th, 27th of the month. Leo, sun, moon, rising sign. So, hey, Leo guys, guess what you get? You get that Jupiter every 12-year transit through Aries, and that's your 9th house of foreign lands, trips, and travel. And it's also your higher education, academia, book publishing, and even spirituality and truth and belief and a faith of some kind. Jupiter can be teacher, guru, guide, motivational person, mentor here. You definitely have that transit since May, and Jupiter will be here more or less till next May, minus a little dip into Pisces between October 28th and December 20th. So it's a longer term story of your spiritual increase of your spiritual faith and belief. Maybe finding teachers and guides and mentors to help you learn something that's very important to your dharma and your path, especially with Chiron up there. And you also may find yourself busting out, if you're into book publishing, in this year between Jupiter in this part of your sky till next May and really getting a book deal or something. But for a lot of Leos, with Venus in your first house during the 17th, 18th, and 19th, this is a lucky, beautiful, positive flow between Venus and Jupiter that is just like lucky opportunity, enjoyment. You are feeling beautiful. You are feeling oh so pretty, oh so handsome. You are feeling persuasive, charismatic, and you're just feeling good, being pleased with yourself, with Venus going through your first house of identity. And that trine to Jupiter just heightens that. And Jupiter is like, well, let's expand how good you feel about you. And we're going to make it in the context of something you're learning, something you're teaching, or the possibility of a getaway trip that you're planning. It's probably in the planning stages and you're taking the helm of that trip, like planning a trip to go somewhere, usually for foreign shores and lands. But Venus is the ruler of your third house of short trips and travel. I have a Leo rising sibling, for instance, or son anyway, and she'll be traveling with me on the 17th, 18th, and 19th. So with Venus as a ruler of the short trips and travel, usually domestic, and all of that, there's definitely some possibility of a great trip that's going to be very positive, and the enjoyment factor and the luck factor and the sweetness is amazing for you. Now, you do have this energy of the big boom that's being reactivated from the end of July. It happened into the early week of August. There's been a pivot, a redirection. It's not just a couple of days. It's about the next 15 years of your life where you're pivoting towards Leo rising people, especially with Sun and Moon to career ambitions and directions changing dramatically. You are reorienting purpose and career, and it will be a 15-year narrative. And yet here Venus is back to that story and adding something to it. So she opposes Saturn at the end of the month, right? The 27th, so 25th, 26th, 27th. She squares the nose of fate. She opposes Saturn. It's gnarly tension. You are the Venus person, very entitled, very queenly, opposing somebody else, a business partner, a marriage partner, a client. You're in a sort of an oppositional energy to some kind of a repressive authority figure energy in your seventh house. And it's all leading back to this great career explosion that you're on, this new direction. Ultimately, the power is in the nodal axis. You're going to find that's what matters, that you're going to level up somehow, in this area of the sky that's called your career. Venus is the Lord of this 10th house, and she's in the sign of you. You are responsible for your success because you have the charm, the charisma, and the persuasion and the likability factor that's really strong, and it's kind of baked in, to this last little bit here of her participation in the big boom. So get ready for that. I'd say watch for fights with your marriage partner, basically at the end of the month. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. You are having the energy of the Venus trine Jupiter every 12-year event, which is lovely and lucky and spacious in a money spot for you. Now, this can look like an unexpected dose of money luck, as Jupiter in the house of bequeathments, inheritances, shared spousal resources, tax refunds, banking, speculative investments, eighth house money is trying to bring you some kind of abundance. Now, not to make you worried, but if you do have the possibility of a passing relative up your family line bequeathing you money, Jupiter can bring that here. But he will be here till next May. It doesn't have to be about now. I do think that this trine will open up the doors to greater financial gain. Venus, though, is in the house of backroom deals during this trine, secret negotiations. And so in a way, it's not on the table yet. It's kind of conversations behind the stage by maybe women or just Venus, the goddess of money, trying to bring these opportunities to you. It can also be a little bit about foreign travel opening up for you as well. Planning a trip maybe or something like that around the 17th and 18th and 19th of the month. It's probably more like the big boom. And by the way, the 8th house is secret love affairs, and Venus in the 12th house. Wow, be cautious here. Even though it's a trine, you don't want a secret love affair to undo you. Just saying. But I do like it as a trine, so I'm going to not worry so much about that. You may have a new dating relationship that you're not letting the world know about yet. You want to keep it under wraps for now. Now, with this other energy going on in the sky of the big boom being activated from the big boom, I call it, of Uranus Mars North Node in Taurus, rare event, 2,300-year rare event happened like August 1st and 2nd, but it was kind of like July 20th to August 6th. There's some kind of pivot around academics, book publishing, foreign lands and travel, visas, travel. I said travel, book, did I say book publishing? So all this ninth house stuff has been like, it's a pivot point. So like my Virgo rising daughter, she's like going to go to university again to finish her last year, but oh my God, either she's blowing the university off and quitting, or she's going to radically change her focus or something like that, or have an epiphany. So a lot of Virgo risings, it's either I want to move to a foreign land, I want to travel to foreign lands, I'm never going to stop traveling, I'm going to spend the next 15 years in foreign lands, or some of you, some big shift in your academic stuff, or your spirituality, faith, religion, and belief. Okay. And at the end of the month, 25th, 26th, 27th, there's this energy, this tension from Venus and Saturn. Now, Saturn in the sixth house could be a boss at your workplace, like the boss, the foreman, the person in charge, the manager, someone above you. And you've got some tension going on here, and maybe even some bad blood between a woman in the workplace who's bad vibing you behind your back. So there's some kind of tension going on at work, definitely, or in your coworker space, or if you're an employer with your employees, and it's all kind of rippling out to that big boom ninth house. Where whatever's going on in work can really redefine what you're doing in that ninth house. I have no idea what to say. You quit the job and you're free to travel. You exit stage left in a setting to do with work, so you can focus on, going back to school and getting a new degree. I mean, for some of you Virgos, there's no doubt about it. Academics is an 15-year story, whether you're going back to school, continuing school, or exiting school. Alrighty, I hope that's useful. And we're going to continue. And we keep going on to the next sign, which is Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Now, Venus is your Lord, right? She's like the Taurus people and Lord of your sign. And she's going to trine Jupiter, the god of luck and opportunity, growth, expansion, in a rare 12-year type of sky event. Love it, love it, love it. I would say, look at that Jupiter in your seventh house of love, marriage, relationship, significant business partnership, seventh house stuff, no doubt about it. Single Libras may find love in all the right places, from large groups of belonging, like going to a concert, hanging out with friends, a friend introduces you to someone, or you go to the society of, stamp collectors, where you just joined and got a membership, and next thing you know, you meet your true one there. So there's definitely some potential for a lovely, expansive love story here. If you're a Libra sun, moon, or rising in relationship already, this is going to pick up some love pieces for you and expand the relationship, and also give it a lot more fun, play, and pleasure. And this is all happening on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of August, FYI. And so you're going to find yourself just enjoying being with the one, love the one you're with, that vibe, so that's the juice there. You can also expand your audience, your marketplace, if you have that. If you have to sell something to others, salespeople, you're having a bounteous time. Jupiter retrograde can say you need to go back and consolidate some kind of learning about your market, your audience, and your other. But Venus is lending you a bolt of goodness. And sometimes Venus is a promotion or a raise when she's in the 11th. She's a perk, some kind of career perk coming at you as well, Libras, around that time, the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th of the month. Now, the big, and luck from female friends or female allies, giving you favors and opportunities that serve you to expand your success with your marketplace, audience, and clients. Cat just jumped on the table. I'm so hot. Then the big boom that happened August 1st and 2nd, but you were felt at July 20th to August 6th. Well, it's a redirection of your life in a new exciting area, which is about wealth, 8th house wealth. This is how you can parlay money makes money. This is your stock investments. This is your investment portfolios. This is your money for retirement sometimes. Your partner money, your business partner money. So this money is expanding, growing, amplifying for you over the next 15 years. Yet that big boom is going to have a little gnarly tension from Venus and Saturn in an opposition on the 27th. It builds up around the 25th, 26th, 27th, as Venus is squaring your 8th house of money, and she is a goddess of money. So Venus in a square is not always a bad thing. I mean, it can bring you some perks financially, but it could also be getting a loan, a mortgage secured that it was a hard one to do and you managed to pull it off. You may have gotten some kind of support from a lover, or a child of yours who could lend a hand. But Saturn down in the 5th house is sort of like, how are you feeling beleaguered romantically? How is it the fun not happening in your life? Venus loves play and pleasure. And she's saying, let's go out and hang out with friends. Saturn is saying, I have to be responsible and dutiful. And the North Node is saying, we need to expand our finances and our earnings and our resources. Big gnarly tension. It's temporary, right? But it's also connected to a larger story of a stress point that is within that next 15 years, perhaps. So pay attention to how you need to find a balance maybe between, working your ass off like good Libras are, workaholics half the time, and having some fun in life. If there's any lesson from this, you could end up with a female that really, really pressuring you to go out and play, and you feel like you can't because you just stay home and hustle. I think the solution is to go out and play, because Venus is the Lord of your sign, sextiling you, especially a rising Libra between 15 and 25 degrees, or sun moon. You really need to go out and play and stop working so hard. And this is true for the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th of the month. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. And while Scorpio poke, this is the energy of Venus in your 10th house in a once every 12-year flowing trine on the 17th, 18th, and 19th. The Jupiter retrograding in Aries through your house of your work, your colleagues, your co-workers, your workspace, your work habits, your health routines. Now, Jupiter, for a lot of Scorpios, is saying you need to focus on improving your health. Let me teach you ways to do it. But also when it comes to work, you're expanding and growing. You can get elevated, promoted. You can be moved to boss with this Jupiter transit, which is playing out to next May, or the boss can really love you up and look favorably on you. And there's a special perk in your work around the 17th, 18th, and 19th. Maybe you get a bonus, maybe you get a promotion, maybe you get a recognition or an employee award. And Venus in the 10th house is just saying perks, rewards, and promotions, maybe even from a female boss. Good things in work and health for you at the end, on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of the month. The end of the month, though, the big boom is reorganizing itself around Venus. So go back to end of July, the first week of August, where you're being propelled towards 7th house expansion, Scorpio rising. This is to expand yourself into new commitment levels with your audience, your marketplace, or your business partners, or your marriage. If you're dating, it's time to move in. If you're together, it's time to get married, set the wedding date. I mean, a lot of you are trying to propel your energy now as the North Node moves through Taurus into an expansion of existing relationship if you are already with someone. But if you're not, a destined partner could be coming your way, and the big boom is bringing it here to you, courtesy of North Node Uranus Mars that happened in the beginning of August. Now, at the end of the month, though, there's tension. Venus is in a gnarly tension point to your marriage partnership, or to your business partnership, or to some clients. And you may find yourself at the end of the month, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th of the month, with this big triangle, the T-square energy, really activating a difficult argument, a difficult circumstance, a difficult disagreement with somebody in your home, with your marriage partner. And lastly, if you want to buy or sell real estate and you've been trying to get that off the ground, this is a kind of a pivotal moment where you could find a legal contract coming your way that may not be ideal, because contracts are the 7th house, but you maybe feel pressured to sign it. It's a do or die, last minute, this or nothing else kind of vibe. Same with a lease, I don't like it for the tension that it has, but with a sextile from Jupiter to your 4th house, any new real estate, home, buy, sell, or move, or lease should be in your favor. The house of tenants and tenancy and renting is the 6th house. Jupiter going through there, you'll get the ideal tenant for your house, or you'll be the ideal tenant in the ideal home. Okay, and so things around that are picking up at the end of the month. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, guess what? You have something really, really cool going on in your sky, because you have this rare every 12 years Jupiter trine Venus, 17th, 18th, 19th of August, happening in your 5th house. And it's kind of lovely because that's Venus's joy house where Jupiter's sitting. And this trine is like Venus loves the 5th house and Jupiter's helping from the 5th house. And so what you end up getting here is something like, okay, if you're single and you're a Sag, romance in a faraway land, romance from a trip or travel to a foreign land, romance in an academic setting, high falling in love romance with someone you were with before and you're coming back into a relationship with them. Love from the past returning, Jupiter retrograde in the 5th house. Want a child, Jupiter is the fertility transit for a Sag, whether you're a man or woman, it does not matter. Your partner or you can get a baby here. And Venus is saying, yeah, let's pull it off. If that happens, by the way, you'll be very overjoyed. And it means with Jupiter retrograde, you may have tried to do this before and now getting pregnant works. And if you're a Sag rising and you are already with somebody, this could mean that you take a romantic trip to a foreign land and you really improves the relationship. Finally, this is a money luck opportunity with Jupiter going through your 5th house. Time to buy that lottery ticket, time to take a speculative, risky investment, but be cautious, of course. Don't just listen to an astrologer. Venus, a lucky goddess of money, trine Jupiter in the house of her joy, in a house of money luck. Yeah, so money luck could come to you for sure, especially around things that have to do with lotteries, because governments run them, and governments are 9th house bureaucracies where you have to get that money. So play a lottery just for fun, 17th, 18th, and 19th of August. Now, also, you get this energy at the end of the month of the gritty T-square reactivated by Venus opposing Saturn. And this will happen really 25 to 27th of August. And you will feel like things that were happening end of July, early August are coming back up. You're expanding over 15 years in new directions of work, livelihood, and things to do with health. And for a lot of you, it can mean a change of careers coming, and it will be over the next 15 years, you know what that looks like. But there's a bit of tension here because Venus is up in the 9th house of trips in foreign lands, and it can mean a woman from a foreign land who's giving you a gnarly, what do you call it, skunk eye at things to do with your siblings, your trips and travel, things to do with your domestic, like local neighborhood. And I don't know, it's like, and then everything is like squaring this energy. So like an example would be you want to go on a trip with your love partner and you thought you had it all planned out, but now something in work is too important and you can't make the journey. And the one you're with, who happens to be traveling up here, that love goddess, is really pissed off and saying, I'm going on that trip by myself. See you later. And I just made that up, but you get the gist of it, right? So Venus in the 9th house can also be academic setting involvements where there's tension between your desire to do something like learn how to get a real estate license or practical learning course, and some tension in the land of academics or, more formal education. And all of a sudden, maybe your boss says, I want you to go back to university for a year and we'll pay for it, but you don't really want to do that. You want to just do something else, like just teach me how to, skills-based stuff. I don't know, but it's tension. It's definitely tension. So although I started off talking about how some of the good love stuff was amazing, at the end of the day, there could be some tension with somebody you're with. And with Venus ruling in your natal chart, your 11th house of friends and allies, it also can look like some tension with somebody you consider to be a friend who had your back. Venus rules friendship. Who's opposing you in a legal matter or a visa matter or a legal affair, a court affair. And suddenly you find yourself having to defend yourself and put up a boundary, Saturn, in order to deal with this situation. Just an example, right? It's hard to say, everyone's different. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, good luck times, right? 17th, 18th, and 19th with Venus, Jupiter trine, a kind of fire trine we have not seen since 12 years ago. So with Jupiter doing his dance through your 4th house of homeland and real estate, you're very lucky when it comes to buying, selling, and leasing property over the next while, until next May, minus October 28th, until December 20th, because he goes back into your 3rd house. But I'd say to you, this is a good transit with Venus in the 8th house to get the loan, the mortgage, the home equity loan that you need to renovate something. It has to do with leveraging money for things to do with your home life, even if it's just to buy the furniture you need or something that has to be repaired in the home. So you're looking at going back over something you wanted to do before and didn't do, and maybe doing it again because Jupiter's retrograding. It's not the first pass at this thought, right? Like, oh, I really want to, I always wanted to move out of this house, buy this home or sell this home, and now you're able to do it. 16th, 17th, 18th, good luck in that area for sure. It's definitely fantastic for those things. You could have a secret love affair developing if you're single, with Venus in the 8th house and Jupiter in the 4th. It could be like a secret love affair close to home in the neighborhood. You're keeping it under wraps for some reason, but it's positive. Finally, secrets from the one that's in your life. Venus is like the goddess of the love relationship energy, but is a positive, like maybe a secret being revealed that's got some positive aspects to it, revealing information that you needed to hear. Now, later in the month, there's a gnarly aspect, really. Venus will be a part of that T-square, 25th to the 28th or so of the month. And it reactivates end of July, early August, when we had that energy of the big boom, the triple conjunction of Mars, Uranus, North Node. that happened in Taurus. Now, the last time you had this, or anyone had it, was 15 years ago, March of 2007. It was in Pisces. And it really is a reestablishing or establishing a new life direction over the next 15 years. And for you, it's about your children. Like, so if you're single, it's a romance, love, children, independent business enterprise, fun, play, joy, creativity, and the muse. All of these areas are where you go over the next 15 years. And yeah, at the end of the month, that whole promise feels derailed. Like Venus is in the house of your earnings, your 401k, your stock investments, your bank loans and mortgage stuff. And all of a sudden you feel this gritty tension between those kinds of financial resources and this expanding into love, play, pleasure, children, fun, romance that you're here for over the next 15 years. I did a glitch in the matrix here. And with Saturn, duty, responsibility, save your money. Now, I'm not going to pretend this is not what I see. If you're in a relationship that wasn't working for you because the big boom involved Venus in the 7th house, at the time of the big boom, this is alimony, spousal support, dividing assets, looking at parsing out the shared resources. And you may be feeling like, oh, Saturn in the 2nd house, since 2000 and well, really in earnest since the end of 2020 is like, we need to save, conserve, be fiscally responsible. And suddenly you have to share money with somebody you may be separating out from, possibly for some of you Capricorns, especially rising, that can be true. And that would be at the end of August that you're feeling this kind of tension. All right, so it will pass, but be aware that that is coming in your sky. You may have to put up a boundary around the spending of somebody you're with as well at the end of the month. Saturn is boundaries, hard nose, basta, enough. Venus is a love goddess in a house of shared resources. So that's another possibility. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising, which I am, we are having the big boom, of course. Well, let's start with the lucky part. 17th, 18th, and 19th of the month or so. Huge Venus in the 7th house of committed partnership and love energy. She is shining brightly up there, and she wants us to have some really good times with some beloved energy going on. And she ends up in this once every 12 years trining energy with Jupiter in your 3rd house. So Jupiter in your 3rd house, this is like short trips and travel, commuting, short distance flights, airplanes, trains, and automobiles, trips and travel, skills-based learning. Now, a couple things. You could do some skills-based learning that helps you spread something to the people in your marketplace or audience. Venus can make you popular here. So, for example, I'm an Aquarius rising. Venus has been going through Leo, or will be going through Leo. Hope I said this in the beginning, August 11th to the 23rd. So it's really good for a spotlight on succeeding within the marketplace, fans and audience. But it also means it could be a significant love relationship moving to the next level. So if you're with someone, you can level up because of shared trips and travels that you may want to take during the month of August between the 11th and the 23rd. I want to show you that it's also, or I should say, oh, did I say the 23rd? Oh, September. Oh my God, I'm so hot. I'm so delirious. Venus is there till September 4th, right? Around that time. And so you could find yourself like planning a trip to go away with, or arranging a travel plan with some romantic person if you're Aquarius rising. If you're single and you want to be in a relationship and you haven't met somebody, this can bring somebody in. You've got Saturn in the 1st house, so you're very boundaried right now. You have to focus on you. You need to be, as an Aquarius, really sober and realistic about what you need and want. You're learning where your boundaries are and how to share yourself in a boundaried way, kind of like a very hermity way, actually, with someone that you're in a relationship with, or will be in a relationship with. Now, I mean, it could be a female client, it could be a sister or sibling, but it can be a love relationship. So watch for this tension 25th, 26th, 27th at the end of the month with somebody that you are engaging in a relationship energy with, or business partnership energy, or client energy coming to a head. And it has a lot to do with home and real estate and where you want to live. And all of a sudden there's this big kaboom. Now, hey, this big tension from the big boom of August 1st and 2nd. You know, I mean, if you're an Aquarius rising, you're moving to a place that's probably going to be where you stay for quite a while. It's all about succeeding from 4th house places, what you do in your home, where you move to, what you do from your home. Has to do with liberating yourself too from your family of origin stories, all of that. Go listen to my Big Boom webinar. But holy man, this could be a contract. Venus is in the house of legal contracts for a lease, for a new home, to buy a home, but all of a sudden at the end of the month, there's something that's sticky and stuck. and you didn't maybe expect it, right? Uranus is the unexpected. And all of a sudden things are difficult and challenging regarding the concept of home. Alrighty. So just keep that in mind on the 27th, 28th, 29th of the month. Pisces, sun, moon, rising, this blessed energy that you have between the Jupiter and Venus trine, which only happens every 12 years, is going to be in some ways bringing you into a kind of flowing, harmonious, Jupiter is the Lord of you, lucky money time for you. Because your money house, Jupiter, is where you get the luck when Jupiter moves here, and he'll be here until next May, but he is retrograding. So you have to go back over some old ground right now. He's been here since May of this year, 22, and May of next year, and he'll take a time out, help you with your health and your well-being, October 28th to December 20th. But before that, well, like, you know, now during this lucky event on the 17th, 18th, and 19th, when Jupiter and Venus trine, I guess I would say something to do with money and work are gelling, like your work routines, your health routines, and your money story. Jupiter makes you want to eat everything. Like you're in a kind of like, give me everything. I want to eat everything. I don't care what I eat. In your second house, I'll smoke, drink, and eat what the fuck I want kind of vibe, right? And Venus is like, oh, well, is that healthy? And let me show you a better, pleasurable way to eat. You know, you don't have to have that gluten-y bread. Here's this amazing product with no gluten that tastes so good, or whatever. So some of you are finding lucky new eating styles during the 17th, 18th, 19th, but more so, it's a financial bonus points on the game board of life from something you're doing in your work. Yay, you. Promotions, gains, perks, an uptick in your revenue stream. And at the end of the month, there's a tension that happens between Venus and Saturn. You can see that opposite each other, and it's in a T-square to the North Node in Uranus. Now, this is go back to the first week of August, last week of July, when this big boom happened in your third house of siblings, short trips and travel, change of neighborhood. So all of these things are new directions that are going to play out over the next 15 years, where this is significant. And it's also your online world, your websites, your social media platforms. This is where you're growing, expanding, and yay you over the next 15 years, Pisces people. And this is going to end up looking a lot like a tension moment at the 25th, 26th, 27th of the month. And it can be between a colleague in your workplace or a female boss in the workplace. It could have to do with a health challenge you're facing, Pisces, rising especially at the end of the month, that has to do with things to do with, oh, well, I don't know for sure, because Venus is such a benefic, but you could have a temporary little glitch in the health story, or someone else is not doing so well, and you're having to help them out with their health challenges, even maybe visit them in a hospital on the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th of the month. This would likely be somebody that's in an aunt, uncle, cousin, sibling energy, okay? But again, you're looking at a change of a relationship as well. I mean, sorry, a change of a neighborhood as well. So for example, an elder senex in the hospital passes and you move into that person's home. I'm, making stuff up, which benefits you, Venus, to do the work you're here to do in the world, in the house of work. Venus is the ruler of your third house, and this is where the goodness will be over the next 15 years. And she's trying to bring you, especially in the big boom when she was sextiling Uranus, enjoyment of your children, more play and pleasure and fun from the neighborhood that you inhabit. So some of you are moving, and she's in the house of tenancy and legal, like signing a lease, breaking a lease. This looks like it could be breaking a lease energy, or a new lease coming, but it's got some gnarly terms. That's a possibility as well, or legal agreements being forged around the ways you can occupy some new home in a different neighborhood, for example. So many ways this can play out. For the most part, though, what I say with Venus in the sixth house, if you have a collegiate coworker space and Venus is in an opposition to Saturn, some boss authority figure in the workspace could be giving you some kind of grief, and it could feel very tense on the end of the month, 25, 26, 27, 28th of the month. Thank you for listening, Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Don't forget, guys, holy man, like, subscribe, hit my bell for notifications. Don't forget to check my description box. I'm teaching my Sky Reader course and I have a wait list. It's coming up this October. The wait list just means you get early bird discount notice, and I will cap the number of enrollees. So if you want to learn astrology, it's Be Your Own Astrologer, Time Your Best Life. Check that out, all in my description box. Thanks guys for listening. Ciao, ciao.